Now for the latest in our series, Freedom to Flourish, brought to you by Koch Industries. Sean Pica spent 16 years in prison for murdering a friend's father when he was a 16-year-old. But he turned his life around. Today, Pica is helping to provide a college education and life skills to incarcerated men and women in New York State.
Sean Pica was in 9th grade in Long Island, New York, barely shaving when he shot and killed the father of a classmate.
When I tried to wrap my head around the fact that I took a human life, the world got really small really quickly.
Pica was sentenced to 24 years in prison, which is where he began to turn his life around.
And while I was sitting there thinking about how I failed everybody, one of the officers came to my cell and he just said to me, "Is there any chance I could get you to help me work with some of the other men?" So I began to read to these men in an effort to get them to learn to read and write.
16 years later, Sean Pica was free. He connected with a nonprofit that had helped him behind bars called Hudson Link for Higher Education in Prison. It provides college education and support to incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men and women.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
And today, Sean Pica is its executive director.
Now, we're talking about what we're doing right here, right now. We're not talking about the past. We're putting everything else that happened before this moment behind us.
Hudson Link is trying to end recidivism. That's where the vast majority of inmates end up back in prison after release.
I'm 4th generation male incarcerated in my family. I took my gift for numbers to become a drug dealer. The education was very important because I didn't realize the connection between what I already knew, my natural talents, and success.
Today, Hudson Link has awarded 600 college degrees with a recidivism rate of less than 1%.
This is an accredited degree-granting college program. Their degree does not say University of Sing Sing. It says Nyack College. It says Mercy College. It says Columbia University. I have seen the rippling effect of that one degree as it goes into their families, their children, their neighbors, their community. We are truly helping the community through this one person and this one degree.
Sean Pica joins me now. He earned his GED and several degrees through higher education in prison, and he now serves as their executive director. Sean, thank you so much for being with us today.
Krystal,
really
thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
So first, I have to ask a question that is uncomfortable to ask, but you killed someone.
I did.
How did that happen? What are the events leading up to that, and where have you gone since then?
When I was in high school, one of my friends told me that her father was doing things to her that he should not have been doing. I, in some hero complex, went over and thought I was saving the day and changed everyone's life in that community. Literally the school, my friend, my family, everybody just was so shocked that this had happened, and I got sentenced to 24 years in prison.
So you find yourself in prison as a young man, and how do you begin to pick up the pieces and imagine a life forward for yourself?
Well, I mean, just being sentenced to that amount of time as a teenager, New York sentenced their teenagers as adults, I didn't know I was going to a maximum security prison. And when I got there, truly thinking my life was over, one of the officers came to my cell and asked me if I would consider helping the other men to learn to read and write. And I kind of just thought he was messing with me because I didn't even finish high school. And I spent the next couple months helping the other men in the basement of the school building learn to read and write.
And so that sparked your own passion for education?
Yeah. And it was the older men that I lived with, and the staff as well, the officers and the staff that just don't get the credit, that pushed me to go back to school and finish my high school diploma.
That's amazing. So you come out, and now you're executive director of the very program that helped you while you were inside.
Yeah.
Why is that important to you?
I think just the fact that the Commissioner of Corrections in New York thought that I could even do that job. When I left Sing Sing, I had more time in prison than out of prison, and now I'm going to run a nonprofit. I think it was a bit ambitious, but I was surrounded by a ton of people in the community that really felt that this was worthwhile and supported me as I did this. But when I took over, there were 61 students, one college partner, one facility, and now 9 years later, we're in 6 facilities serving men and women. We have 588 students in the program and a $1.5 million budget that we raised privately. There's no state or federal funding for this.
That's remarkable. So, I mean, now a huge success, and you've done an incredible job as a
Thank
leader.
You.
but I'm sure it wasn't easy. I mean, what was that transition like? As you said, you'd had more time inside than outside. What were some of the hardest things to navigate as you moved into this career?
I think technology. I mean, we would see movies in the prison where you would see cell phones and the internet and technology. But when I got out and had to figure out a cell phone, when I'd never even seen one before, the internet wasn't even in existence when I went away. It was daunting. And I think one of the things that we've tried really hard to do now is to incorporate some of that stuff into the programming with the life skills portion, so it's not just college you're receiving. And that support on the outside, which is business attire, technology assistance, a laptop for every student when they come home, and networking dinners every other month.
How successful is the program in then placing people and them getting started in their own career?
Believe it or not, almost all the students that go through the program are heading back to the 5 boroughs, and they're all becoming caseworkers, social workers, or entering the social services field. So 86% end up in that field, and almost everyone has a job within 5 or 6 weeks.
That's incredible. What do you say to critics who might say, you know, there are a lot of people in this country who need education. These guys have messed up. Why are we spending so much time and money focused on them?
Well, I think I come from a different world. My mom and dad are retired New York City cops, so they were police officers when I got arrested. I come from a different place. So for them to have to see what I went through, but know that there was a second chance involved in this. But most of the students I went to school with, this was their first chance. So yes, it was a second chance for me, but not for everybody. And most of the folks that are going through this, getting their first chance at life through this educational program, just means that when they return to that community, they're coming back as helpers. They're getting jobs, they're helping the community, they're becoming caseworkers or social workers. That's an investment. And it's not about helping them, it's about helping the communities they come from.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you want people to understand about, you know, what are misconceptions about the population that you work with?
Well, I think people see me at the helm running this nonprofit and think, well, Sean turned it around, but he's not the norm. But I am surrounded, my entire staff, we run the only degree-granting college program in a prison that's run and staffed by formerly incarcerated people. So my entire team have been through the program and now run it. And I am not the smartest guy in the room, by any means. And I surrounded myself with smart people, but the fact is, I'm not the norm.
You're not the exception.
Not the exception. And that these students going through these programs, there's hundreds of them. There's 800 now home. There's 400 that went through the program and didn't go home yet, that are doing amazing things while they're still in the prison and then when they get out as well.
There is so much wasted human potential in this country if we would only look for it.
And all they're asking for is a chance to go to school.
Sean Pica, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really
It's an
appreciate
honor.
it.
Thank you.